Hi, this is Andy. My question is, how do I prevent cramping in my calves when I'm running up hills?
Hey Andy, I get a lot of questions about calves, and the usual typical answer from a coach or other runners when we talk about calf cramping is they always steer towards maybe an electrolyte imbalance or being low on electrolytes. And I find this is not always the case. And it could be the case if your calves are only cramping late in runs, late in races, maybe when it's hot, but it takes a long time for the cramping to start to take effect. And this could be an electrolyte imbalance where you might want to just try to take in a little bit more electrolytes and see if this helps. Okay? But typically, what I have found is that calf cramping that happens frequently and often, this is more of a strength issue and more of a surprise to the muscle. Okay, and I want you to think about one thing first, is that when you're out running hills, are you keeping your heel elevated and off the ground while running uphill? And this could be the case, this is kind of a natural thing when we're running steep inclines, but you could be keeping that heel elevated too high or too often, which is creating a lot of stress to the calf. And therefore, the cramping is the body and the brain's way of protecting yourself. So it's, hey, we're doing too much right now. I have to give you a cramp so you slow down, protecting your body, okay? And with that, this could be also a strength issue, okay? So if it sounds like you're doing a lot of trails, a lot of hills, try doing this workout also. Try doing steep hill repeats where the length of the interval is only maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds in length. This will do a few things. This will help you because they are short, they're relatively faster than just a normal kind of grind up a hill on a trail run. Okay, so it's, again, key to keep them short. So they are faster, therefore your cadence is quicker. You're spending less time on each foot, which can really help with not getting a lot of knee flexion that could be placing a lot of stress on your calf. And again, decreasing the amount of time you're spending on each foot, but also with a 10, 15, 20 second hill repeat, now you're really training strength. Okay, and force production into the ground that could just layer on some strength to really help with the cramping. And again, I found that most times this type of cramping is a strength issue. You can also add in some calf raises, and I have my athletes do what I call foot core, where they simply are balancing on their forefoot barefoot, and they're doing that before a run. Again, this is adding tremendous amount of strength that can, again, help with the cramping. And lastly, I mentioned cadence. You might just look to do your climbing and running your uphills with a little bit quicker cadence. Again, this will help quicken your stride and not allow getting a lot of ankle and knee flexion that can, again, put a lot of stress on the calf, the Achilles, that can be causing some of the cramping. So use these tips as a diagnostic and create some awareness of maybe what you might be doing while you're climbing hills that might be creating some stress to the calf and the Achilles. So hope this helps. Keep running strong. You can get it. See ya.
Hi Coach, I'm Elizabeth. I ran for my birthday today. Woo! And I have a question. How do I train better for high elevation runs when I can't always run a high elevation run every day?
Hey Elizabeth, happy belated birthday, and I love this question on altitude. And this might surprise you, but if we're training for a race at altitude, we don't want to or need to train at altitude every day. Okay, obviously you need to put your time in at altitude to prepare for the race, and that usually takes care of itself on longer weekend runs. But one workout that you can do at lower elevations when you can't get to altitude is do a VO2 max style of workout where you're doing intervals of 2 or 3 minutes that are fairly fast and hard, with equal rest. So you're going 2 or 3 minutes hard, 2 or 3 minutes very, very easy, or even walking. Okay, this is going to help your aerobic capacity and help your leg turnover and run a little bit faster, because what happens at altitude makes us work harder, slower. So we can combat that with some of these lower elevation, harder workouts where our speed is not so inhibited by the altitude. So look to do that. You only need to do this like once a week. Okay, it shouldn't be done more than this. Okay, and again, it's a good balance between all the elevation and altitude training that you're doing. Another really simple and effective way to train for altitude when you can't be at altitude. There's so much new research now on sauna training or heat training, where sitting in a sauna doing some heat training really provides the same effects as altitude training. So give that a try. You could do both in one day. If you go to the gym, you could jump on the treadmill and do your VO2 max workout and then jump in the sauna afterwards. And now you're getting a huge bang for your buck when you can't get to altitude. So I hope this helps. Good luck at your race and happy birthday again. See ya.
Hi, I'm Cody. My question is on race day nutrition. What's the best things to eat?
Hey, Cody. Great question on race day fueling and nutrition. And we could talk hours about nutrition during race day, but it's really predicated on two things: the intensity of the race and the duration of the race. And those usually kind of go hand in hand. The shorter and harder the race, the more it's going to be taxing for your stomach to have to digest fueling. So in a shorter, faster intensity style of race, we really want to gravitate to something that's going to be easily digested. And race fueling kind of tends to be the gels and the carbohydrate drinks when, again, this intensity is really fast, hard, and on a shorter duration. As the race lengthens in duration, obviously the intensity kind of dips a little bit because now you're going longer and you just can't go quite as fast. Therefore, it's not as taxing on your stomach, and you can start to mix in gels, drinks, and maybe some solid foods, more tasty kind of foods that, again, will sit a little bit better in your stomach. And with this, we always want to take plain water. Plain water really helps the stomach to digest and to absorb the fueling you're taking. So first and foremost, just really look at the intensity that you're asking your body to be. And if it's on the harder, faster side, you really want to gravitate to those fueling and nutritional calories that are going to be easily digested in your stomach. With all this, you really, really want to experiment. Okay, work with this framework and experiment with what works best for you during your longer runs. And the longer the race it is, the more your cravings might fluctuate between something more sweet or something more salty or savory. So again, this is where the experimentation comes in and the length of the race comes in. The longer you go, maybe the hotter the weather, you kind of gravitate to something salty. Cooler weather, shorter racing, you can kind of stick to that sweeter end of the spectrum. Bottom line though, especially in longer races, the best fuel is what you have with you and what you will actually eat, okay? Fueling always comes down to consistency, hourly consistency. So most times it's actually what you can be most consistent with, okay? So I hope this helps. Again, this kind of opens up a can of worms. We could talk about this for hours, but kind of work within that framework, and I hope that helps. See ya.